Hey, sorry about that, guys. I had like a headache all damn day. I hate that. The snow, it was like crazy bad today. The storm was anyways. And then of course the buses were canceled because well, it was bad. Like I just told Leland last night. I was like, I'm not setting my alarm. There's no way you're gonna go to school tomorrow on that. You took one of your migraine meds too? I don't have really any migraine meds. I've tried. Um stuff that my doctor has like prescribed for me, but they don't seem to really work. Um, and then another one I got was naproxen, like a really, 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 really strong one, and it tore my stomach up to the point where my stomach started bleeding. So I can't take those at all. So what I normally do is I use ice packs at the back of my head and put hat and sunglasses on, and then I take Advil and then Tylenol together and hope and hell and pray that it um goes away. It works as if you take it as soon as possible and your left eye feels like yeah, I've heard of someone else having that too. That's crazy. Hey Bree, Light Patty's gonna have a nap, I think I seen. Oh yeah, it's the EVP. I'm gonna play that right now, actually. The EVP, I promised. It was what was it? It was for Sylvia Likens. It's the video that I wanted to play on the like I did made a video about it and I wanted to play that on the video I did, but nobody really heard it, right? So I'm gonna look for that and play that now. It does say, please help me. It's sad. There it is. Let's see here. And then I'll finish reading. I don't have any like I don't I'm so out of it. I'm sorry. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit here and just lie down and listen to movies. Can't freaking watch them really, right? Anyways, so I was telling Leland, I said I'm just gonna order something for Mr. Mozzarella. I'm just gonna get like a small pizza. It's all I can afford, but I need something to eat. Where the hell is it? No. Was this it? Yeah, this was it. Okay. I was just bitching about my migraine. It's not a migraine anymore, but it's still there. So I'm gonna take it easy. Reading's probably not gonna help, but I want to read this. I'm interested. And then I'll be back at 7 and read the Black Dahlia. Okay, so I'm gonna play that EVP. So basically, these two friends went to the house when it was still standing, the Sylvia Likens house, and they begin showing us the house that she was in, right? It's now torn down and there's something else built on top, which I think is disrespectful, but that's just me. All right, I'm gonna play this.
What up, Timothy? Back in the day, this is good. So I just filming it. Oh, I might not even put it in.
So that's the house. It's just two guys talking.
I see it. Walk on it. Hey, don't say nothing stupid. I ain't gonna say nothing. You like Costa? This is a freaky ass house. I know, go to food. Yeah, 38. This is where that little girl was tortured and raped and killed during the 60s. She wasn't raped. She wasn't raped, but she was tortured.
See, I beg to differ on that about the RAPED because what I read and the documents I found, yeah, she was. Her whole girl part was swollen shut because of what they fucking did to her. So don't tell me that's not RAPED.
This is a weird ass what up, Columbia? Does that top work? What was the basement like? This is the basement where the little girl was tortured. Dude, come here. This is fucking freaky. As you can see, this is what the basement looked like. That's fucked.
Oh hell no! This picture is serious too.
Dude, I fuck.
This picture is serious.
She just said, help me. I can't even hear it, so I might have to get a speaker. Did you guys hear anything? I can't with this damn heat on. No? Okay, I'm gonna grab a speaker. Give me 2 seconds. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I'm yelling thank you because my son shoveled a huge ass walkway for me to get in and out of here. Thank you. His friend come over to help. Okay, now I need to figure out how I'm going to plug this thing in, and then we'll listen to the EVP. Go in there. Yep, that works.
The basement looked like. That's fucked.
Oh hell no! This picture is serious too.
Dude, I fuck.
This picture is serious. I swear to God. That's what.
Dude, come here. This is fucking freaky. As you can see, this is what the basement looked like. That's fucked.
Oh hell no! This picture is serious too.
Dude, I fuck.
This picture is serious. I swear to God. That's what.
Hey, Autistic. Oh, you're murdering. You're doing that or modding for that there, eh? Yeah, I just got a small pizza. There's another trial going on too. What the hell is it? Hold on a minute. It's on this morning. I can't remember the name of it. There's the murder one. The antifreeze murder retrial. You guys heard that one with Mark Jensen? There's no sound. Antifreeze murder. You guys heard that? Uh-oh, can you hear me now? Oh, I knew I should have touched it. Okay. Oh, I was late too, Esty. I haven't even started yet. I had a headache and I didn't even freaking wake up. So did you guys hear about that other trial? This one's the antifreeze murder retrial, and this guy's name is Mark Jensen. So that's been popping up on Court TV too, so I wanted to watch that one as well. I don't know why, but I cannot. Okay, the heat's down now. Let me see if I can hear this.
Like, this is the basement where the little girl was tortured. Dude, come here. This is fucking freaky.
As you can see, this is what the basement looked like. That's fucked.
Oh, hell no. This picture is serious, too. Dude, I ain't fucking.
Yeah, I can't hear it. Damn it. All right, I'm gonna restart my computer and then not right now, but I will before I go live again, and then I'll just put it up on my community tab or something. Or I'll play it tonight when I restart it. We'll see. Because she does say, "Help, please help me." It's the saddest thing I ever heard. It's crazy. You heard a high sound in the background? Yeah, the antifreeze murders. That's so there's two of them playing now. So I was gonna get into that one. I was curious. I haven't watched it yet. But it's a retrial, so I don't know. I don't know if it's for his side or not. Well, my audio's not playing very well. All the background noise is cut out. All you can hear is just voices. It's very strange. It's been doing that on videos and stuff too. So I need to restart this, I think. Oh, where's the book? Oh, shoot. Okay. All right, so now we're on interesting staircase facts about Michael and Kathleen Peterson. Although the Staircase documentary has been a successful true crime story for the fans, one thing is quite sure, that it didn't focus on Kathleen Peterson herself. All of its 13 episodes were mainly focused on Michael and his innocence, regardless of why he was convicted and the factors behind his trial. The Staircase also left out the following interesting facts about the couple's relationship and Kathleen's death. Number one, Kathleen had a high powered occupation and she was uneasy that she was about to be made redundant. She was Director of Information Services at the Canadian firm Nortel Networks Corporation when she died. According to Beyond Reasonable Doubt podcast, Kathleen was a big earner making a six-figure salary. So how the hell were they broke? In the lead up to Kathleen's death, Nortel had been making a large proportion of its staff what is the hell is that? Supererogatory, as many as 2/3 or 45,000 workers. While Kathleen wasn't one of the employees to have been laid off, she reportedly told her sister Candace that she was afraid that by the end of the year, she wouldn't have a job. Michael Peterson mentioned these fears in an email to a family friend just 6 days before Kathleen's death. Poor Kathleen is undergoing the tortures of the damned at Nortel. They've laid off 45,000 people, he wrote. She's a survivor and in no trouble. but the stress is monumental here. Kathleen died on December 9th, 2001, so she never reached the end of the year to find out her fate. Number 2, Kathleen Peterson was the sole owner of the couple's mansion. The staircase she was found dead at the bottom of was just one of the many in the huge property, and the couple were thought to have been relaxing by the swimming pool in the garden prior to Kathleen's death. But as the prosecution pointed out in the trial, Kathleen was actually the sole owner of the house and the car. Michael may have been a local newspaper columnist and author, but he wasn't a big earner, and he didn't own the 1810 Cedar Street property. He owned nothing. Hey, Jen. Oh, I love cornbread. He made practically nothing from his books and depended on Kathleen's income to support him and his sons. Bet you that put a chip on his ass. Number 3, Michael Peterson got a payout from Kathleen's assets after she died. As mentioned above, because of her considerable salary, she could afford to take out a hefty life insurance policy which totaled $1.4 million. Within 6 months of his wife's death, Michael Peterson had collected $347,000 from his late wife's assets to fund his legal defense. Kathleen Peterson's life insurance was later split between her daughter, Caitlin Atwater, and her first husband, Fred Atwater. Number 4, Kathleen suffered possible strangulation injuries. What? That's a new one. I didn't know that. In the last 2 episodes of The Staircase, filmed in 2016, as Michael Peterson's legal case finally drew to a close, you might have noticed the lawyers mentioning strangulation injuries discovered in Kathleen Peterson's autopsy. You'd think this would have been a major point of evidence, but for some reason, up until then, it had never been referenced in any of the documentary series. That's some messed up shit right there. Really? Diane Fanning, oh, she's another great author. I've got a few of her books too. Diane Fanning explains the injuries in a little more detail in her book Written in Blood. Dr. Radish, the state pathologist, moved her examination to the internal neck area and discovered a bloodied fracture with hemorrhage on the small extension off of the left thyroid cartilage. It was an injury unlikely to occur in a fall. Usually it was the result of direct trauma to the bone and was common in strangulation or attempted strangulation, she noted. Number 5, experts believe Kathleen had been dead for some time when paramedics arrived, thus the blood was dry and congealed. In the first 911 call, Michael Peterson frantically tells the operator that Kathleen is still breathing and urges them to hurry. But when paramedics arrived at the scene 10 minutes later, Kathleen was dead, and it appeared to them that she had been dead for far longer than just a few minutes. You can do that, KCG. Check my Twitter. My Twitter. Alrighty. So number 6, Michael Peterson had a book deal ready to go if he was found not guilty. Holy crap. Peterson was a writer, and many said he has the kind of ego which starves for the limelight. Throughout the weeks of testimony, Michael Peterson had taken copious notes on legal pads, most likely because he had a book deal with publisher HarperCollins. When the jury found Michael Peterson guilty of first-degree murder in October 2003, the offer was immediately withdrawn. Michael Peterson ended up dating the editor of The Staircase. What? That's number 7? Really? One thing that absolutely wasn't mentioned in The Staircase is that Michael Peterson didn't remain single for all the years following his wife Kathleen's death. He developed a relationship with Sophie Burnett, the editor of the documentary filming his case. According to the show's director, Jean-Xavier Lestrade, this relationship had no influence on how Burnett edited the series. This is one of the incredible things that happened during those 15 years. Life is really full of surprises, the director told French publication L'Express. They had a real story, which lasted until May 2017, but she never let her own feelings affect the course of editing. Yeah, right. Bullshit. Now we're on this part here. Where are Michael and his family now? After taking the Alford plea in 2017, Michael finally walked free and began living the life of a common man. Currently, he's still in Durham in a very tiny apartment. He's working on a new book about his own story. Not only the story of the case, but of his life and experience in prison and everything. Of course he fucking is. It's annoying. I don't know, he just annoys me. However, what most of the analysts anticipate that his new book, if completed, would lead to a lot of controversies. Although he took an Alford plea and walked free, a lesser number of book readers would be interested. Patricia Peterson, Michael's first wife. After living 20 years with Michael, Patricia still believes that her ex-husband did not kill Kathleen, and he should not be treated the way he is. She had been there for his support right from the beginning. She is now retired and living in Durham. Caitlin Atwater, which was Kathleen's daughter. At the beginning of Kathleen's murder trial, Caitlin believed that her stepfather was innocent, but after seeing her mother's autopsy report, she was convinced by the prosecution's argument that Michael was the real culprit. Her siblings even stopped talking to her after listening to what she had to say about their father. She didn't believe for one second that Kathleen was okay with Michael's bisexuality. In 2007, she sued Michael for $25 million in the wrongful death settlement and showed anger when he accepted an Alford plea to the reduced charge of voluntary manslaughter of her mother. Until today, get out of there with their feet. Until today, she hasn't forgiven Michael for her mother's murder and decided to start a new life. She got married to Christopher Clark and began to live outside Durham after living for a few years in London. In the beginning, she is now the mother of twins and known by her new name, Caitlin Clark. Clayton Peterson. Clayton had been a great support to his father, just like his mother, Patricia Peterson. Right from the beginning until the end, he believed in Michael's innocence. After Michael was released from prison in 2017, Clayton got married to a beautiful girl and started to live in Baltimore. The couple have 2 children. Todd Peterson. Just like the rest of the family, Todd also supported his father throughout the trial. After Michael was released from prison, Todd decided to remake his life and begin to live in Tennessee with new spirit. Martha Ratliff, daughter of Elizabeth and George Ratliff. Martha stood by Michael and declared his innocence in front of everyone. At present, she's living a happy life in Colorado. Margaret Ratliff, she is the biological sister of Martha, who had been living with Michael and Kathleen in their mansion from the time they married. She is quite a reserved and shy person who doesn't like to discuss her personal life in public. She graduated from Columbia College of Chicago, worked on many projects in the film industry as an actress, assistant director, and production manager. Currently, she's living in California and known by her new name, Margaret Blackmore. This is the end of the book. That was really short. Epilogue. So, what are your views? Was Michael guilty of his wife's murder, or is there something that's still hidden? What is your analysis regarding the evidence, the theories about the lacerations on Kathleen's head? Are they telling you a new story? Another person did it and discarded the murder weapon. Maybe it was the owl. Right. He does believe Michael did it, right? Yeah. Nevertheless, the jury needs to convict without a shadow of a reasonable doubt. But there is doubt. Most people I talk to about the case are 80% sure he's guilty. Hey, Trio. Although Michael is out of prison and is living a more private life now, Kathleen's sister, Candace Zamperini, still believes that he was the person behind her sister's death. Is she right or not? There was much more to the case and its proceedings than anticipated. There were a lot of theories that made sense, but still, nothing was proven due to the lack of evidence, in my opinion. Kathleen's murder mystery is still unsolved because people believe the evidence and facts in a different way. Be it the owl theory, Candace's take over Michael's conviction, or anything else, Kathleen Peterson is still waiting for justice. You have a good night, Great Dane. And there's a book at the back of this too. It's called The Minivan Murders. I guess I might as well read it. Yeah. Do you guys want me to read this other book? It's at the back of this, and it's called Abduction, the Minivan Murders. I do have the full book in my book collection, but this one's, I mean, I don't know, I could just read this one. It's about a serial killer couple. I hate that for you, Great Dane. I know exactly how you feel.
Hey mom, do you have wet food in that bag?
Yeah, why?
Dilly's.
It's a empty can.
There's still wet food, some in it, and Dilly's looking at it.
What?
He's in the.
Oh my God. Dilly, what you doing in the bag? All I see is her little tail. She wants to lick the can till it's dry. So you guys interested or no? Holy shoot, that was my stomach. Ugh, they were some ugly people. Nasty pieces of work. Like, the back seat of the minivan was removed and ropes were attached inside to restrain their victims. That was where the horror took place, is in their minivan. These people are disgusting. It's like Fred and Rose West. Or like Janice Hooker and Cameron Hooker. Nasty pieces of work these guys are. Well, I figured see him on who what? Yeah, there's a book at the back of this that we're apparently I'm done the staircase now. It was just a short book, but at the back of this there's another shit, almost half this novel is another book. So I was just gonna go ahead and read it, and then I'll title this one not only the staircase, but the minivan murders. Yeah. Oh, I'm just gonna start it anyways. And then once that food gets here, I'll just get off. So it says free book. Abduction, the minivan murders. Here's the introduction. In the world of crime, while each case is heinous and a blow to humanity, there are some cases which leave a mark on not just the victims, but everybody who comes across them. The United States alone have been responsible for a few of the most notorious and horrific killers of all time. Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, and many other serial killers have been caught and convicted for committing gruesome murders and subjecting their innocent victims to torture. Yeah, I figured this was. Yeah, the book's over. It was. I didn't think it was that short though. A number of the killers who have made headlines across the world have been male, as noted by many psychologists analyzing their behavior. When it comes to female serial killers, there have been several, but not nowhere near as many as their counterparts. These females have many times worked with a partner, usually male, joining forces to carry out violent acts and torture. The deadly serial killer couples that shook the world by their grisly and heinous crimes include Michael and Susan Carson, Doug Clark, Carol M. Bundy, Paulo Bernardo, that's Canadian though, Paulo Bernardo and Carla Homolka, and Fred and Rosemary West, just to name a few. They forgot Janice and Cameron Hooker. They were even worse. As evident from the above-mentioned twosomes, female serial killers have worked with their male equivalent and gone on to kill several innocent men, women, and children. During the 1940s, Raymond Fernandez and Martha Beck teamed as the Lonely Hearts Killers, took the lives of 3 women and a child. The killer's involvement was also suspected in more than 20 murder cases across Michigan and New York. It surprised psychological analysts and human behavior researchers everywhere that women were partaking in evil acts of violence and pain. After numerous studies between the relationships of serial killer couples, it was implied that the relationship between 2 partners was somewhat similar to a submissive and a dominant one. If the male or female was responsible for the execution and torture of the victim, while the others scouted possible targets. Despite years of research and studies, analysts were mostly lost for an explanation as to what prompted the serial killer couples to torture and murder innocent people. While serial killers have been in existence since before the time of Jack the Ripper, there have been a decline in their numbers over the years. Throughout the early to mid 20th century, America experienced one of its worst criminal periods as far as serial crimes are concerned. The wave continued on to the late 1990s and even into the 21st century. One of the most notorious killing pairs that surfaced during this time was Michelle Michaud and James DiBiagio. You guys ever heard of these guys, this couple? Okay, so James Anthony DiBiagio, also known as Froggy, and Michelle Lynn Michaud were 42 and 43 years of age, respectively, at the time of their conviction in 2002. When news of their crimes made global headlines, researchers and psychologists began to dig deeper into their history and background. Yeah, I have the book. I've read it already, but I need a refresher. When news of their crimes made global headlines, researchers and psychologists began to dig deeper into their history and background. It was determined that DiBiagio was born on July 27, 1960 in San Francisco, California, while Michaud, also referred to as Mickey by her partner, was a year older than him. Since an early age, both DiBiagio and Michaud encountered difficulties with their family lives, especially during the adolescent years. In 1974, when he was 14 years old, DiBiagio was questioned during the investigation of Casey Riley's murder. The 13-year-old girl was found near an embankment by a creek in Union City, California. Upon investigation, natural-born killers. I don't know if it was this couple or not. No, it wasn't this couple, I don't believe. There's a few couples. The 13-year-old girl was found near an embankment by a creek in Union City, California. Upon investigation, it was revealed that the little girl had died due to drowning, and there was evidence of severe assault and injuries to the head and neck. While RAPE could not be determined, the investigators found her clothes disheveled. As the case progressed, investigating officials found evidence of James DiBiagio being present on the scene when Casey Riley disappeared. Later on, he even claimed that she had been his girlfriend. He was 14 years old and she was 13, and he's claiming that was his girlfriend. The investigators did not pay close attention to his claims, as a few other boys had also gone on record to state something similar. Yeah, SD, those were the Canadian ones. That was Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo. There's some sick fucks too. A number of analysts deem this incident the beginning of DiBiagio's long violent history. At the scene of Riley's murder, the police found sneaker prints of a size 10 shoe, which helped them come up with the possible suspects. Eyewitnesses also stated that before her disappearance, Riley had been talking to a young boy with a green shirt with a sleeve patch. However, this did not lead to any conclusive results. In May 75, almost 6 months after the atrocious killing, the police convicted Marvin Much of Casey's murder. Much later, it was revealed that Much had been falsely convicted, as his prints did not match the evidence found at the scene of the crime, nor were there any links to Riley determined. He spent 41 years in prison and was only recently released. Many believe the reason DiBiagio managed to get away unscathed was his sister's false alibi, wherein she stated that her brother had been present at home during the time of the murder. Oh yeah, she's out. She's out. She's got a new name, a new face, and she's living in Quebec. As a fucking teacher, nonetheless. Since that time, his violent behavior began to slowly progress. He would get into fights in his high school and gravely injure his fellow students. He stole a car belonging to a girlfriend's mother and often got physically violent with young girls. Soon enough, DiBiagio was sent to live with his birth father in Pasadena, California. Tales from the Asylum, an anthology book, and one of the stories of really. That sounds really interesting. Even that did not make much of a difference, and he was back with his mother after a short stay. He was sent to juvenile detention center in Alameda County for robbing a gas station. During the detention period, he acquired his nickname Froggy and also met a friend, Michael, who shared the same twisted perversions as he did. Most likely, Michael was the person responsible for triggering his violent sexual fantasies that soon eclipsed his entire thought process. Michael also went on to become a killer and a serial rapist. Holy fuck. Once at the juvenile center, DiVaggio worsened in his ways. He was known to be involved in several robbery, abductions, and rape cases. Well, initially, the rape charges were dropped due to the victim's statement, which could not prove him guilty. DiVaggio eventually was arrested and put through a psychiatric evaluation. He was officially considered a sex offender and flagged by the sex offender registry. However, whenever he moved, he kept his whereabouts hidden from the authorities. Like, how does he get away with that? You can't keep it hidden from the authorities because the authorities are supposed to be the first one to know and put that shit out so people know. Soon enough, James DiVaggio was caught again for picking up a female officer posing as a prostitute and offering her money. He was sent to the California Medical Facility, situated within Vacaville, and fined heavily for drinking and disorderly conduct. Despite that, DiVaggio managed to secure his release shortly and moved to Sacramento. He dropped out of high school and then married his pregnant girlfriend, Becky. The relationship did not last long due to DiVaggio's habitual gambling and heavy drinking. In Sacramento, he joined a motorcycle gang called the Devil's Horsemen. It is commonly understood that during his time in Sacramento, James DiVaggio met Michelle Mashad. These future serial killers bonded over their mutual appreciation of violent sexual acts. Michelle at the time was already a prostitute and frequently experimented with various drugs. After a string of failed relationships, Michelle Mashad was his first steady partner. As experts determined, Mashad also came from a similar background as DiVaggio and might have been assaulted by her father. At the age of 16, she had run away from home and moved in with a physically abusive drug dealer. Michelle entered prostitution and took multiple partners before meeting DiVaggio. He was apparently impressed with his position as a gang member, believing herself to be protected in his presence. Prior to the meeting in 1996 or 1997, Michelle had worked in a massage parlor and had been arrested several times. Michelle and DiVaggio established a relationship with the latter, moving into her house after a short period of dating. She tried her best to impress him, but after a while, nothing was good enough. However, Michelle stayed with DiVaggio and even tried to build a family with him. The bar where he worked was robbed just before Christmas, and while his involvement in the crime was not proven until later, he was fired for getting violent with the customers. After that, he took a job in security, working as a guard during the day. His interest in Michelle began to decline, and he would often bring other girlfriends to the house. DiVaggio's partner allowed the presence of various women in his life, believing that it would keep him happy and content. Despite that, his behavior began to worsen and he became increasingly violent and abusive towards Michelle. He would often lock her up and leave her for days, all the while subjecting her to physical violence and savage sex. What in the hell? Both Michelle and DiVaggio were into drugs, and their expensive habits soon created a mountain of debt for them. In order to lessen the financial burden, they let their friend deal drugs from the premises. Soon enough, their luck ran out. The authorities discovered that their home was a place of illegal drug activity. During the law enforcement investigation, DiVaggio's status as a sex offender was discovered, and there were children in the house. He was ordered to move out. Sorry, somebody's at my door. Give me 1 second. Sorry about that. Frig, I just spent $30 on a pizza and I didn't even mean to. They have like this new that sucks. That's a lot of money. Um they have a new debit machine and it went French and I pressed the wrong button. Fuck. So apparently I finished the book, Melissa. It was very short. Okay. Where the hell was I? I was gonna finish this paragraph and then I'll go. I better eat something. Haven't eaten all day. Should I just go? Where was I? Okay, so we got busted finally. So authorities discovered that their home was a place of illegal drug activity. During the law enforcement investigation, DiVaggio's status as a sex offender was discovered, and as there were children in the house, he was ordered to move out. That's shitty. At this time, DiVaggio was also kicked at the Devil's Horseman due to his involvement in a burglary. Accordingly, this was when he began to exhibit curiosity in serial killers, reading books about them, and being particularly fascinated with Gerald Galaggio. Drawing inspiration from him, DiVaggio managed to persuade Michelle to kidnap her daughter's friend and lure her to an isolated place. He assaulted and arred her while his partner was also involved in the act. Ew, she was involved too. This was the beginning of the crime spree that deadly killers were about to commence. All right, I'm going to end it there. And I'll get off of here. My dog's going nuts anyways. He wants a piece of the crust. Yes, just a minute. Don't drool. I'll be back at 7 with the Black Dahlia, and we'll read that. All right. Thanks for joining me, and I apologize for being late. I will be back at 7, I promise. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.